Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Season 3, Episode 19, Turtles in Time. Now, this episode obviously did a lot for the series because not only does it have the best title that any Ninja Turtles episode could possibly have since it's named after the Turtles for Turtles in Time game, but it is also, ironically, the time episode after like 4 months of no Ninja Turtles. Like, I looked up on my thing. The last time I uploaded a review for Ninja Turtles was May 22nd, and I believe that was the actual day because it was on a Friday. So I believe it was on the day. It may have been a week behind, but it's been months since we've had Ninja Turtles. And I say this every time we come back for one. It's like, it's been forever, but it really has. Like, normally it's like, okay, it's been a month. It typically is. Like, I had gotten used to that schedule. It's been a month, maybe a month and a half, and we get like 3 episodes. And this was just like 3 straight months of just sheer nothingness. And now we finally have an episode. Who knows how many we're gonna get, because that's just how the show is. Like, this is the one show I think where we're really affected by how long it takes to make an animated show, because it does take forever to make any animated series. But I feel like this is the one show where we as fans really get affected by how it takes months and months to actually produce an episode, because we have these months and month long hiatuses, and it's super epic. Like, it's a great show, but we just get just giant spaces of nothingness. So we're finally back into it. Hopefully this lasts for a long time. Maybe they were holding off to just have the rest of the season. You never really know how many episodes it's going to be because of how weird things are. Like, even from, I believe it was season 2 into this season, that was all just like, alright, it was a huge hiatus from season 2, and then it was like, here are the last 2 episodes of season 2, and then the very next week was officially season 3. So it's really all over the place, and we're, with this being episode 19, they probably only have a couple more, and it's probably going to end on this time travel note. But it was a great episode. I love the fact that we got time travel, because that's a huge thing for the series. Interdimensional travel, all sorts of crazy stuff that we haven't really even touched on yet. Like, they touched on a little bit of like the spirit stuff, a tiny bit, but that's about it. They've kind of touched on like really huge, crazy things in this universe, and this was one of them. So that was really exciting to see. Obviously, the Turtles going through time, like some other people, because I read a review before I was doing mine. I do wish that they went through more time periods, and that's kind of what I was expecting. Like, when it's called Turtles in Time, I'm going to think of the game. Like, I'm going to think of this game, and I'm going to think of, when you go to the dinosaur level, you go to, the Wild West and the pirate level and stuff like that. That's what I'm going to think of when you call it that. And it was like, they went to one time era, technically 2 if you count, the end of the episode. And it kind of sucked that was it, but it was still really fun to watch them go through that. We got the LARPing costumes back, which is actually pretty funny. I was hoping that they were going to do the forest costumes again from when they did the training before Return to New York, because they were, in the forest. I was like, oh, that would be really cool, because ever since that one episode where they were doing the training, we haven't seen them do that. Even in the Return to New York episode, they just had their regular costumes, which I kind of hated. I was kind of mad about that. And we just haven't seen them again. They're in the opening, and it's like this big deal. And we saw them in that one episode when they trained. And even when, like I said, when they came back, they ditched the costumes. So I was hoping for those, but the LARPing costumes were still pretty cool. The fight against the Knights was definitely funny. The accents were just obviously, a bit over the top and funny. Mikey saying they have like level is like class 50 armor and stuff. I thought that was pretty cool. Getting to meet the new the time traveling characters, Renee, and I can't think of the villain's name, as well as Simultaneous, which is just kind of a funny, cool name. I thought that was actually pretty cool. The enemy was very interesting. I thought it was weird that, I guess it shouldn't be weird because it's the Turtles and there's all sorts of alien creatures and stuff, but I was like, oh, well, she's like human, and he's just like a centaur type creature. Not a centaur, but, like a giant beast type creature. And it was just normal. It was like, well, we're all just time traveling creatures. But it was pretty cool. I like those characters. Obviously, the villain was defeated, and then it was just like, oh, he's totally gone, sort of, so we're definitely getting him back. We might get him back by the end of this season, if they, with the time travel stuff, he might be in another era. Um, and Renee is kind of off somewhere. I'm assuming she went back to her actual time. And the turtles are now trapped in ancient Japan, which is like the coolest thing ever, and they get surrounded by ninjas. One of my favorite things about that ending scene is the fact that they did the ninjas in red instead of ninjas in black costumes, because it's like always one of the big things is that ninjas either wore black because of obviously the darkness of night, but there's another thing where people say that ninjas always wore red so that their enemy couldn't actually see when they got them or when they were actually bleeding. So I thought that was actually pretty awesome. I was like, they went with the red ninja costumes because of that, which I don't think is nearly as popular as obviously like ninjas dressed in black. So I love that ending because I randomly knew that little fact or possible fact. It's not really confirmed or anything, but that's just another thing. Like with the black costumes, that's why ninjas were red. So I love that because of the lore behind ninjas in red costumes. But the characters were pretty cool. Renee apparently, like all the comments on the review I read were talking about her chest and stuff. Apparently that is true to the source material. Someone put like, they stuck to the source material, and in the comics apparently she just has like huge, huge boobs. But that was something they put in. They like put a focus on it, obviously. I didn't actually mean to do that. But it was impossible not to notice that. I was like the whole episode. I'm like, that's like really different compared to any of the other characters, and there aren't too many female characters to begin with, and none of them are adults. So this is like the first, you assume like mid-20s or something like that, early 20s character that we've even had, and it's just like she's the bustiest character we've ever had on the show, and it's hard not. It was like impossible not to notice that because they put it out there. It was like very obvious, and they struck like right in the middle ground because they were keeping true to the source material, which is really funny that they, kind of stuck to it in that sense. Um, but they definitely did, and it was fun. It was just like really weird because obviously it's Ninja Turtles. It's like you wouldn't expect that in this type of show, but it was there. They stuck to it. It was like, well, it's impossible not to notice that. Her costume is actually similar to the comics, which is cool. It's almost identical to the one from the 2003 costume. It's slightly different, but they're very, very similar. The acting was very well done. It was actually done by Amy Johnson, who a lot of people will probably know as Ellie, because that's the most recent thing that she did as far as voice acting from The Last of Us. But in the review, they did mention like a lot of the characters she's played, and it was kind of funny that um, she and Greg Cripes, who is Mikey, always play like romantic interests when they do voice acting because she played Terra in Teen Titans and he was Beast Boy, so they had that, and also God, it was another show I didn't actually watch, so I can't remember the name. I think it was like the Super Robot Monkey Team Hyperforce Go show, which was years ago. And then after that was Ben 10 because they play Gwen and Kevin Levin respectively. So I thought that was kind of cool they mentioned that because I forget about that when I recognize her voice all the time, and then I always relate it to the last character she played, and then I'm like, oh yeah, she did play all those other characters that I know as well. So that was kind of funny. They have their voice acting sort of couple thing going, which is a thing in voice acting with a lot of different people, whereas like they're voice acting couples because they always play the romantic interests of each other's characters. But I thought the voice acting was well done. I liked her character. I liked the fact that she was like in the very serious middle ground where it's like she's really silly and obviously doesn't know 100% what she's doing. But at the same time, she had really cool moments, like when they were trapped in the time loop, which was a great scene in the episode when the music just kept replaying and stuff. And she was the first one to realize it, and she used like her little time gloves or whatever, and she broke through a time loop, which was really cool. And that also created another hilarious scene after Donnie hugged her, and then Mikey like pushed him and was doing the eye thing. So I love that she had like a great moment like that. But she was also really silly, like when she was introduced and she's like spinning the staff around, but she'd like drop it because she's not that good with it. It was really funny. Like I love that. It was just like she's got this ability, she has the strength and the know-how, but she's still like a time master in training, and she's really silly, and she gets in trouble, and she's like, well, we got to get the heck out of here because I don't want to get grounded, which is what we find out at the end of the episode. And I loved it about her character. I thought that was actually pretty funny. She has all these skills and stuff. And obviously with us just being us, it's like, oh, she's a time traveler. It makes her seem even cooler. And then you really get down to her personality, and she's just like silly and just learning like any normal person would be. She's just trying to learn and become an official time master. So I love that. I'm excited to see what they do with this time travel arc. Of course, them ending it with the turtles in Japan. Lots of questions. I'm sure she's going to come back and end up getting them to their actual time. I'm sure that's probably just how that's going to work out. But if not, I'd love to see how that plays out. Like, if something else happens and that's how they get back, that would be really cool. Who knows how things are going to start up in the next episode with them being surrounded by ninjas. They're, I have to assume, in someone else's territory. That's why they instantly got surrounded. They're in LARPing costumes and stuff, so they look really weird and out of place. And they're also, giant turtles, so obviously out of place there. But I'm really excited. I'm glad the show's back like everybody else is. I don't know what to expect from these next couple episodes. I don't know how many more episodes we're going to get. I'm probably going to check Wikipedia like right after this because they always have the list of episodes. So hopefully there's going to be a bunch that are officially set to come out over the next couple weeks. But I'm glad this show's back. It's been the longest hiatus we've ever had for the series, and it really, really sucks. So I was glad to see on my DVR randomly, I was just like, holy crap, Ninja Turtles, it's finally back. So got into it, loved the episode. Like I said, loved the title because it's titled after the game that everyone loves. It is the best Turtles game. Definitely loved getting to meet the characters. I personally didn't know any of the time traveling characters. I didn't remember them, from the other versions. So it was cool meeting them. Love the personalities, like I said. Designs were really cool. Them being, the way it ended, I'm just incredibly excited to see them learn new skills because I feel like that's where it's headed. Like, they're gonna somehow get on the good side of these ninjas, and then they're gonna learn some other stuff, which is gonna be really cool. They might even get new weapons. Maybe, I feel like Leo is like the only person that could really get new weapons, because it's like, oh, here's like this ancient katana and stuff, and it's not like they're gonna be like, here's a super epic bow staff, from 3,000 years ago. It would be a stick that falls apart. But love the episode, of course. I want to know what you guys thought about this one, so please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, your least favorite parts. And with them introducing officially time travel into this universe of the TMNT franchise, what eras do you guys want to see them go to? I think, for me personally, they kind of went where I wanted them to. Like, they ended right in ancient Japan, surrounded by ninjas. That's about as good as it can get for me, unless they go into the future for a little bit of time and we get to see, like, maybe Casey and April and just some other things that they've already done and how it has interacted with the future. Because obviously they find out that they become great warriors in time and stuff like that. So I would love to see if they jump into the future a little bit and it's like, holy crap, this is what we end up doing, but they still have to work up to being like the epic, favorited and loved by everybody Ninja Turtle. So they're already in the era that I want, but if I had to pick another one, it would definitely be the future where they get to see, everything that they've done and maybe even meet themselves, because that's always been really cool. I do remember that from the 2003 one, and that was actually really sad because everyone was like dead in that version. I remember that was just a crazy episode. But want to know what you guys thought about this one, so like I said, please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.